Streaming now, this is the Wood TV Live Desk.
Good morning, everyone. Phil Penarski here with the Wood TV Live Desk. Hope you're all having a great start to your Tuesday. Storm teammate meteorologist Blake Carms joins us once again, as he does every Tuesday, to take a deeper look into the weather going on across West Michigan. We are still going to be talking about last month's weather special, the third installment of our series here on the Live Desk, recapping some of the parts in that special and also just some of the topics and really kind of bringing that back up to light, as it was a fantastic special put on. Today we're going to be talking about Sarah Flynn's part in that, which takes a look back at the deadly Gaylord tornado that happened last May. On Saturday officially marks the 1-year anniversary of that. So Blake, just getting started, why don't we, for people that maybe are new to the area or maybe it has been a year, it's been a crazy year, maybe could use a little bit of a refresher. What happened that day on May 20th, 2022?
Yeah, Phil, it's a pretty remarkable tornado in more ways than one. It was an EF3 tornado, which was the first to hit Michigan, the first EF3 or greater tornado to hit Michigan in 10 years since the Dexter tornado that Bill talked about in his Man Cave Monday segment a few weeks ago. It was on the ground for 22 minutes. Crossed 16 miles, and it crossed right through kind of the business district, I guess you could say, of the Gaylord area, where it did a significant amount of damage. There are a lot of interesting parts about this tornado, one of which is that it was the first time Gaylord had ever been in a tornado warning. So the first time they've ever been in a tornado warning, and the first tornado that's hit in its EF3 intensity. EF3 tornadoes are hard to get anywhere, let alone in northern Michigan. Unfortunately, we do have 2 fatalities from that storm. They were both in a mobile home community that was hit very hard by the tornado. And winds were estimated to have peaked around 150 miles per hour. So this was a very strong tornado, again, by any standards, let alone up in northern Michigan, and that's what makes this storm so unique.
Right, and I think, the story, of course, is still available on our website, woodtv.com, and it has a bunch of those statistics you were mentioning, Blake. I think one of the graphics stated that specific tornado was probably it had the highest wind speeds of any tornado that May last year, and just kind of, as you mentioned, it's the first time there's ever a tornado warning in the area, and of course that it's this damaging. And I think we were talking a little bit before the stream, and I do kind of want to get into this now, about just the damage. We've seen EF4s, EF5s across the country cause a lot of damage and create a lot of destruction in its path. And while this was an EF3, still a very severe storm, it isn't up there with the 4 or 5s, but it's still, for a town like Gaylord, it just impacted them so severely, especially, as you mentioned, in that sort of business district.
Yeah, that's right. And as meteorologists, we always are watching the radar on our phones, and you can usually tell when there's a legitimate damaging tornado on the ground. And this is one of those instances where I remember watching it and thinking, oh my goodness, this thing is going to do some damage, and just surprising that it was in Gaylord, no less. Now, thankfully, they had some lead time on it. Sarah actually interviewed one of the meteorologists, the one who issued the tornado warning for Gaylord. Highly recommend going to watch that. It was a pretty impactful interview, one of several that she conducted, but it just kind of shows that it's a lot different as a meteorologist when you're warning for a community that you live in, that your family lives in. And like you said, did a lot of damage. The mobile home community was hit very hard. That's why we had the 2 fatalities. A lot of people remember the pictures of the Goodwill store that was hit, and I still don't believe they've opened back up yet. That was part of Sarah's story. The damage to that strip and really across the city was remarkable, and it peaked right as it hit Gaylord. And so that was kind of a recipe for a lot of damage and a lot of destruction, and a lot of folks are still working on repairing that damage. As I went to Middleville for that hail story about a month ago, they got hit with a hailstorm in early April, and just kind of hearing from some of the folks there about how lengthy this insurance process can be sometimes. And that's for hail damaging your roof, your siding, let alone a house that's destroyed. Lengthy process that some folks are still working their way through to try to get back to some sort of normalcy.
Right, and again, as I mentioned, the 1-year anniversary is this Saturday on May 20th, and there are still people that are still reeling from this storm, and you did touch on it a bit, Blake, just the amount of time that residents really had to prepare for this storm. It was about 7 to 8 minutes since that warning was issued to really duck down to cover and know that a tornado is about to come and hit you. We talked about it the past 2 times you've been on the live desk, just about the importance of weather sirens and having multiple ways of gathering your information. I think it's especially a good a time as ever with the anniversary coming up to once again just say, 7 to 8 minutes is pretty standard time once you get notified of a storm coming. That's about as much time as you're going to have to really prepare for what is. I just think we should focus again on all the ways to get your weather information and also the best ways to always stay on top of that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, I think the first part that kind of transcends it all is just being weather aware, especially on active days, being conscious of what's possible that day and being aware of the timing of the potential for severe weather, and just keeping in mind that you'll have to do some extra monitoring that day. And then make sure you have more than one way to get warnings, especially if you're at home or asleep. Phones are great, but the only fail-proof way to get warnings almost always a weather radio, and it's especially helpful if you're asleep. And we get a tornado warning. Obviously not all that common, but they do happen. I can't help but wonder, being a resident of Gaylord and seeing a tornado warning flash up on your phone, knowing that you've never been under a tornado warning before, what that must have felt like. And for a lot of us here in West Michigan, it's been a long time since you've been under a tornado warning. And so it's just an important reminder. I think the biggest thing is just being weather aware and weather conscious, especially on active days, and having ways to get warnings and keep up to date with the latest updates as severe weather unfolds.
Mm-hmm. Right, and once again, Blake Harms here on the Wood TV Live Desk. We're discussing Sarah Flynn's part in the Safe in the Storm special that the Storm Team 8 meteorologists put together. This is the 3rd time we have discussed, and we're talking about, of course, the Gaylord tornado that swept through the area almost a year ago today. It was back on May 20th, 2022. Blake, again, this story can be found right now on our website, woodtv.com, along with your and Ellen's stories. But also, Bill Steffen included this specific storm as part of his Man Cave Monday series that aired yesterday. If you're watching us on Facebook, you can find a link to that right now on our in the comment section and in the description box. And Blake, once again, the special is fantastic. I can't encourage people enough to go ahead and check it out, but it is a bit of a more serious subject matter, obviously trying to help people stay prepared and safe during these severe weather days. But there is I would like to end the stream on a bit of a good note. I know that the weather is potentially going to be quite nice this weekend, so I want you to kind of maybe give us a quick look at the Futurecast coming up over the next couple of days, and then we'll get you on out of here.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we have a cold front coming through today. Might bring a little cloud cover with it, but overall we're expected to remain mostly dry. That cools us off a few degrees heading into Wednesday. We'll be in the mid to upper 60s. Still some sunshine, though. That carries over into Thursday. Sunny, high temperatures in the low to mid 70s. Friday, we see another cold front come through. This one brings a better chance for some rain showers with it. And then at this point, I would say the trend has been for Saturday to be trending a little drier. Hopefully that continues. We've had rain at least the last 5 Saturdays, likely more. So we're ready for some dry weekend weather, some warm weekend weather, and hopefully we can get that here in a few days.
Yes, fingers crossed we at least have the weekend to look forward to. And the weather is starting to perk up just a little
Turning
bit.
around,
yes,
finally.
Yes. Thank goodness. All right, Blake, well, we're going to let you go. We know you got a busy day ahead of you. So once again, thanks for stopping by the live desk. We will see you next week to talk about the next part in the Safe in the Storm special that the Storm team put together.
Thank you, Phil. We'll look forward to seeing you next Tuesday.
Yes, absolutely. And I want to thank everybody else for tuning into this latest edition of the Wood TV Live Desk. I'm Phil Penarski, and we hope you have a great rest of your day.